Now let's get into more serious business. Should we start with Whitney Cummings?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I've been itching to get to this all week. It's unfortunate that Whitney Cummings show comes out on Mondays because it means I got to wait almost a whole week to talk about it. But the spiral continues. So last week we talked about Whitney Cummings having an even worse response to the Riyadh Comedy Festival than Bill Burr.
Yeah.
It was as if like it was Bill's response filtered through a dumber brain. Where like she got the Bill Burr playbook and didn't quite understand how to read it. And she was just like, you're all racist. And then we figured out, because of when we happened to cut the clip, it was deleted from her podcast.
Right.
It was just taken out entirely. She doesn't mention that it was deleted in her next episode. She just gets right into it and has this as she's had a week to reflect on it now. And she's heard all of your feedback. And this is her response.
Welcome to the program. We're back. Our show's in the news this week. We really break news over here. Hey, everyone. I just am going to start by saying I brighter than I've ever been.
Sorry. She did this last week too, where there's this fake laughter. And it's like, I'm so uncomfortable, so I'm going to pretend I'm cracking myself up.
She's in the spot where she knows she has to talk about it and at the same time knows she's wrong.
She must know she's wrong. And we're going to hear from Chris Distefano later, who again, it's so weird. And Craig was right when he said it's amazing there wasn't like a format for this where some PR person told everyone, hey, this is how you handle it. Because half the comedians have handled it basically perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And half have handled it abysmally. I shouldn't say half. Really, only two have handled it horrendously. And that's Bill Burr and Whitney Cummings, who has been even worse than Burr. At least Burr has started to shut his mouth, more or less. He still makes passive-aggressive remarks, but I think he realized, like, I'm not winning with this strategy. Whitney is still fighting it, which is a weird move.
If I was Bill Burr, I would let her see what happens and then talk about it.
Whitney, go out there. See how it goes. Yeah, no, call him racist.
Yeah, see what they say.
See if that works for you.
I'm realizing when someone is mad at you on the internet, disagrees with you on the internet, I'm not, honestly, you haven't seen what I've seen, and I haven't seen what you've seen. So there's no way
we all saw 9/11.
Either of us know. Who were
No, actually, Craig, I was watching Regis filming that day, and it didn't seem like that big a deal.
It's true.
That's a good point. Yeah, we're all familiar with 9/11. And listen, is there nuance to this discussion? Of course. And that's why I've tried to make it clear. I am not someone who's like, oh, I'm gonna study that list and every name on it, I'm boycotting. I'm not that indignant about this. What I'm fascinated by is the response. And you have people like Chris Distefano who's like, I did it for the money. And you have people like Schultz who are like, hey, I'm gonna go where I'm paid to perform. And there's more to it than meets the eye. And like Louis and Aziz are like, hey, that's how progress happens. If you can call those responses bullshit if you want, but at least they are responses. Bill Burr and Whitney Cummings came back from Riyadh and said, you are all dumb racists and we're heroes for going over there. Offered no response, just expected everyone to accept that they're heroes, which, by the way, hero missions don't usually pay 7 figures. You know, when you go to spread peace, world peace, that's usually not a 7-figure deal to go over there. Right. So this bullshit of we are humanitarians and you are all racists, nobody accepted. And they're going to try and play the cancel culture card and think that that works on the audience that is mad at them. Like they have an audience that's saying, fuck you. And I'm glad everyone has said, no. We're not falling for that. You're not going to get to call us fake outrage. Because some of it is. Some of it is fake. And it's people not holding themselves to the same standard that they hold other people. There's some of that. Some people are like, how could you take that money? When if offered the same thing, they would. But what I see a lot of, and the group that I think I'm part of, are people saying, hey, Bill Burr, we believed in a lot of the shit you were saying. We thought you represented yourself. We thought you preached stuff and stood by it. And we found out that was bullshit. And when we asked you about it, you go, you're all racists. They have a Chili's over there. Fuck you. You told your audience to go fuck themselves.
Here's the best baby back ribs I ever had, dude.
And at least Burr doubled down and went on Conan and was like, no, they are all racists. But Burr has to live with that stigma now. To me, when I think of Bill Burr, at least for a long time, I will think of him saying, talking about baby back ribs over there with Chili's and telling Conan, hey, I performed in England too. It's the same thing. Like that, I will think of the fraud that he has shown himself to be. And when I think of Whitney Cummings, I will think of her saying to her audience, oh, you're all racists because you disagreed with me. Now, listen how she is trying to spin this. At least stand by it and call us all racists if that's what you think. But don't do this. Let's hear why she saw things on the internet that we didn't see.
I realized because last week, I said what I said. And I said, and people are like, yeah, how dare you say we're racist? I'm like, I didn't call you racist. Who are you? I'm talking about the messages I read.
I mean, you said you're all just racist. Those are the words you said.
Blanket statement.
Oh, I mean, she doesn't mean me, right?
She's like, well, if I blanketly call everyone racist, I'm going to hit a couple, correct?
But you, by the way, we didn't record a private conversation where you were calling one person racist. You said into a microphone, oh, I guess you're just racist then.
Right.
Because you think the people and the government are the same. And most of us were like, no. You're the one saying that.
But did you see the message? If you saw the messages I read, you would have, I think, said the same thing.
Oh, damn. I wish I did see those messages.
Let me see your phone.
I wish I saw all the messages where people were like, the people and the government are the same. Because I've been scrolling those Bill Burr comments, and that's not what I'm seeing. A lot of Billy Bonesaws. I'm seeing a lot of hates white billionaires but supports brown trillionaires.
Billy Burka.
Billy Burka's a great one. I'm seeing a lot of those. I'm not seeing a lot of people go, the people and the government are the same.
Honestly, if I look at your, the TikTok videos you've seen about, I might be like, oh, you are right to think that about me. None of these are true, but like
they got you.
I know exactly, but like actually we get along great because I would have deduced the exact same thing if that's what I've seen. So we have no idea what like mosaic of stuff people are seeing about us. I'm realizing because we used to be able to control what people knew about us in some reasonable, like it would be like, I have this special this year, and now you see that I'm engaged, and these are my beliefs.
This is just someone saying nothing, by the way.
Right.
This is just, let me toss out a bunch of fucking words nervously.
Yeah. I'm on your side is where we're headed.
Oh, good. Oh boy. I bet I owe Whitney an apology. I didn't realize she was on my side. Now, get your napkins ready, Craig. We're going to have egg on our face.
Whatever it is, I'm on your side.
Mm-hmm.
If you are mad at me, I'm on your side.
Oh.
Right.
If you're not mad at me, I'm on everyone's side.
Good.
She's the Hulk Hogan of podcasting.
Hey, that's great to be on everyone. The only side people had an issue with is that you're also on the Saudi Arabian government side. That was the sticky wicket, Whitney. That's the only, and it seems to be the only part you're not addressing.
Right.
Which, again, by the way, if you want to tell me there's more than meets the eye over what I'm ignorant to it. I've never been over there. I'm not well read. I don't know what's happening. I do read headlines about this stuff, and I'm like, oh boy, it sounds pretty bad. This Jamal Khashoggi stuff doesn't sound great. But if you want to tell me that's bullshit, I'm willing to listen to it. A lot of people aren't, and I will grant you that. A lot of people probably have their heels dug in on this and won't listen. But the problem is there's a lot of people who are willing to listen that are completely disenfranchised now because you've called them morons because you wanted to take a few dollars. That's how it looks, at least. And you've done an abysmal job explaining it. But I'm glad you're on my side. That's very sweet of you.
When people are like, oh, everyone's so crazy now and everyone's so mad at everything. I'm like, no, I think they're having the reaction you would have given what they were being fed. We don't know.
Yeah.
It's like,
we've been fed a lot of. Jamal Khashoggi's actually alive and he's doing great. You should watch his podcast. It's pretty good.
September 11th, 2001. Every single news outlet was reporting everything the same.
Yeah, but it was all a lot of bullshit. And in retrospect, we should have forgotten about that, I think.
You believe that shit?
They were yammering on about never forget. And I'm like, let's all get over it, Rubble under the bridge.
Oh, why is that kid acting so hyper? Well, they only had sugar. Oh, that makes sense. We're going why is that person so angry on the internet? Well, they probably only got fed.
We're overactive children.
She comparing terrorist attacks to kids eating sugar.
Yeah. You know all the people that were mad about 9/11, they're hopped up on cookies.
They hopped up, and Saudis hopped up on car bombs.
They had too much chocolate and soda. That's why if you are still all bent out of shape about 9/11, lay off the candy, will you? That's all I can say.
Oh, got it. Like we have to start looking at certain social media diets as like sugar or alcohol or something.
This is regurgitating things she thinks Joe Rogan has said in an attempt to win that audience back. Yeah. And she thinks they're so dumb. This is what Whitney Cummings thinks of her audience, and Bill Burr's the same. They think we are so dumb that we'll hear these buzzwords and be like, oh, Rogan talks about this. Oh, Whitney's cool again. I didn't realize. Listen, if you think the Jamal Khashoggi story is bad news, if that's not how you think a government should behave, I would say put down the soda and switch to water. Okay? Because you're all rambunctious and it's time for a nap.
Is he freaking out? Well, he's had 4 drinks. He's been on the internet for 40 minutes. Of course he's acting like that. You're showing up like, I'm not angry. Yeah, you've only been here for 2 minutes. Your drink's not even here yet. I think it's kind of, it's a level of intoxication, right? So when I see someone like coming at me mad on the internet, I'm like, oh, so you've been here a while, huh?
Whereas so this argument, by the way, nervous laughter because she's uncomfortable with what she's saying.
Yeah.
But this argument and Bird did this too, where he's using like this Rogan speak. These are things that would be talked about on Rogan, that people are too mad on the internet and it's like a sugar high. It's a dopamine rush that they get. That's all true. That has literally nothing to do with this. Right. Because I shouldn't say nothing, because again, there are people that are shitheads on the internet that just like causing trouble or whatever, or there's people overreacting. The majority of what I'm seeing, it is not cancel culture. It is not fake outrage. It is not people saying boycott Whitney Cummings, cancel your sponsorships with her. I haven't seen any of that. Am I wrong, Craig? Has there been any like boycott their shows or fuck with their sponsor? I haven't heard any of that.
No, that's a tactic of the other side.
To me, all I've seen are I haven't even seen political sides on this. All I've seen are people like, hey, you went after Chris D'Elia and talked about, you did a whole special about feminism and all this shit. What happened to that? Like, what happened to your beliefs that you preached to us for years? Same with Bill Burr. You talked about billionaires and the healthcare industry and freedom of speech, and you can't say anything anymore. And then you went to a country that has restrictions on these things that are a little more severe than we have. And you have no answer for it? At least Louis and Aziz were like, hey, I think they're trying to do. Craig had the best answer for them. I'm stunned. I've been thinking about it all week, Craig. I'm like, yeah. Craig had a goddamn good answer. Where last week, Craig was like, all they had to say was, hey, WWE went over there years ago and couldn't even use women in their promotions. And now they're female fighters. Like, things are progressing. If Bill Burr said that, then I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? I might, like, if I disagree with him on the issue, I don't care. But he didn't humiliate himself. What Whitney Cummings and Bill Burr are doing is humiliating. And the worst part is I think they realize it. Like, you see it when Whitney is, like, laughing there. Mm-hmm. I think she's humiliated.
She sounds an awful lot like Opie.
I think yes. I think she's aware, but unlike Opie, I think she's aware of what she's doing. She's just like, this is the only way I know how to respond to this. Like, I think she's actually embarrassed by it.
Oh, definitely.
Hey, that was a funny thing. I'm like, so you just got here? No, you
Can't find your way out.
you were on a
I
plane,
hate
no
this
Wi-Fi
guy.
today.
This guy I've only seen 2 clips with him in it. 0 for 2. He fucking stinks.
Only people that are in good moods were on a plane today and didn't have Wi-Fi.
Well, thank God those planes weren't going for building.
Thank God the pilots learned how to land.
Yeah.
People were not allowed on the internet, and they watched Bend It Like Beckham on a 5x5-inch postcard.
That's a good palate cleanser.
I hate this guy.
Shut up, you dick.
Some of the other things that people are grouchy about.
That guy, by the way, has just a completely empty head.
Oh, yeah.
At least he can give Whitney like she's going through something and doesn't know how to respond to it and is handling it poorly. This guy is an empty-headed moron. He has offered nothing to these 2 conversations.
Should we go to Chrissy D?
Yeah, so let's hear, I think, a much better way to handle it. This is just pure honesty. Chris Distefano was on Jim Norton's program the other day, and Norton said, hey, there's a lot of talk about this Riyadh stuff. You were over there. What say you?
Yeah. Now, you got. We were just talking briefly. I didn't want to talk about it before because I wanted to get your take live on the air. You seem like you're handling it well. You went over to Saudi Arabia. A lot of guys are getting a lot of shit for it. How did that whole thing unfold? And were you surprised at the reaction? And like, what has it been for you?
Well, first of all, after going there, I can tell you one thing that I know for sure is Islam is the answer.
Okay, so far, handling it like an actual comedian. That's good. He made a joke, Bill. Did you see that, Whitney? He's making jokes instead of scolding us. Good start.
You think that's the way to go?
I think it might be. It might be smart. If you're known for being funny, it might be smart to attempt that and see if people laugh, just to, get a temperature for the room.
Yes.
The sole reason I said yes was for the money. That is
Bang, done.
100%
Chris,
reason.
Yep.
Chris, save your breath. All I need to hear.
I don't think we need to listen to the rest of these clips.
Chris, don't even worry about it. That's all I needed to hear. Because I don't give a fuck. I'm not some morally righteous person. Like, I get it. Whatever. There are other people that will be much better at breaking down, and I've seen good videos, breaking down why accepting that money is wrong. In fact, a human rights charity, Whitney, not people online, a human rights charity said, we cannot accept this money. It actually is blood money. We cannot take. That wasn't online outrage. That wasn't people that had too much sugar. That is a charity that specializes in this kind of dealing. They said, no, we don't want your money. It's actually no good here. So I'm not indignant about this stuff. I don't really give a fuck. All I needed to hear was, I did it for the money. Good for you, Chris.
And if I would not go over there if it wasn't for a certain amount of money.
Sure.
Then my family, I was like, and for me, it came down to, because there was a lot of controversy, and I said, I'm letting all like this noise in from this comic and that, nameless person on the internet. And then I said, let me just talk to Jasmine, my family. And I was telling her about this, and she was like, well, how much is it? And I told her, and she was like, you need to get your ass on that plane. That's exactly what she said, because she was like, we need this, right? And so for me, it just felt like I went over there.
In Riyadh or Saudi or whoever is probably most happy with him so far.
Well, how do you mean?
That he was like, yeah, he just came over for the money.
Well, no, I got to tell you, Bill Burr did them an infomercial. So I think that's maybe part of what they were paying for.
But Bill Burr, yeah, probably. However, Bill Burr's reaction and the outcry after that is probably going to turn off other people from doing it in the future.
Yeah, right. Keep our name out of the fucking news. Thank you, Chris.
Had a little bit of guilt and trepidation. I really did about going over there. But I was like, get that money, get in, get home. It's almost like, they're holding that money hostage. Get the money, get out. Chuck Norris, just get in, get out. Then when
I love that he's like, I was basically Delta Force.
Yeah. It was kind of a terrorist operation.
It was only 20 hours. When I got there, I as soon as we land, I'm literally in the Saudi Arabian airport security, and one of the TSA agents, who was a female, so a female's working, she's Saudi Arabian security, didn't have the burqa on, and she had looked like a regular woman, like a Middle Eastern woman that you would see working at TSA in New York.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay. Then you see a lot of people with the burqas on, and you know, it feels like, okay, I'm in the Middle East now. And then when we got to our hotel, we all had guides. And like my guide, of course, was just like, you know, like an old fat guy with a missing tooth, like a real Saudi Arabian, just militant kind of guy that was funny. It was kind of fun in the Uber to him, in the car over, because he was like, you kept telling us there's no audio equipment in here. Don't worry about it. And I was like, okay, let's stop saying that. We didn't think that there was. Then he just started saying how much he loves the Jews and how it's funny over there. Over there was very interesting because we had all these jokes lined up for like, oh, F the Jews, whatever, like thinking they would like that. And then they were like, no. He's like, that stuff's not going to work here. He was like, if you wanted to work here, you should really shit on the Palestinians. That's who we want to shit on. And I was like, whoa. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, interesting. And then he was explaining, I mean, that is his own personal opinion, but he's explaining all this stuff. But then the other guy, like I was out there with Andrew Santino, Bobby Lee, like bad friends. One of their handlers was like this smoking hot 25-year-old girl with goth black lipstick, like a cross earring, a tattoo, big, like she looked like a girl that would be in like Miami. And I'm like, oh, so this whole thing is not like what they said it was going to be. Like not everyone is so like religiously militant.
It's almost like they put on a front when they had gifts.
There might be some of that. There might be something to the idea that these people were duped. But the other thing is like that's great. I don't know because I've never been over there. So to hear Chris say like it's not exactly what we thought, which by the way, Bill Burr is the one who said, I thought we'd land over there and they'd be swinging machetes at us.
My point exactly.
And
again.
then called us all racist. Like, no, you're the one who said that, Bill. You thought that. But like Chris saying, hey, I have some guilt and trepidation going over there. And by the way, Chris, unburden yourself because you're the only one who handled it like an adult.
No shit.
Don't worry about it, buddy. But all like admitting like there's two sides to it. There's guilt that went along with it. Not just, they had Chili's. It was great. You could go to KFC. You can make a day of it, you know? He's explaining to you like, hey, there's nuance and it wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. It was interesting to take that in. Now, I do think there's also something to Craig's argument where it's like maybe they were putting on a front for PR purposes, or maybe there's a real effort to advance things. I genuinely don't know. I'm not a good source for that. Like I said, there's a lot of outlets that will tell you otherwise that I think are very interesting and worth looking into. But me, all I'm concerned with is, are these people worth supporting going forward in their careers? And to me, Distefano is, and clearly Whitney and Bill Burr are not, because they feed you bullshit and don't believe in anything they stand for. And by the way, Distefano was the example I always used of someone that has never stood for anything. He's like, no, I'm in it for money. I got to support my fucking kids.
Which everyone can relate to.
Yes.
This is him having no regrets.
Yeah, so I think he's also, by the way, a guy, I don't know how many of them fall into this category, but it sounds like Distefano got way overpaid. Like Schultz was like, I basically lost money being there for 4 days.
Right.
I think Distefano made way more than he usually does. He says right place, right time. So he doesn't regret it.
I understand that stuff was bad. I really do. But for me, it's like, you know, if they're trying to get better and I was a part of going over there, I felt trepidation going out there. Coming home, I felt absolutely zero regret.
And I think that's interesting, to be honest. And again, you can argue with that and you can disagree with him, but I don't have this need to be like, fuck you, Chris, you know? And I think a lot of people can relate to that and just be like, okay, maybe it's not what it seems. And maybe that's bullshit. Again, I don't know. I'm not educated enough on it to speak on it, but it's at least an answer. And it's not scolding you and telling you you're racist. And I'm not going to explain anything. Just accept it. Whitney and Bill said, just eat your vegetables. And we said, why? Why do I need to eat my vegetables?
Yeah.
And they said, because we said so. And then you're like, okay, well, I don't have any reason to eat these fucking things because
I'm not 5. That doesn't work.
Yeah, you guys were fucking assholes about this. I'm not going to eat my vegetables. Now, if they said, well, there's some nutritional value, you could really use it, I would go, okay, you know what? Give me a scoop of that broccoli.
Carrots, Mike. You should have had carrots.
I should have. That was my real downfall, unfortunately.
Fake outrage.
Yeah, Yeah. So, like I said, I don't think there's a ton of this, but comedians have pointed to it. This is where I might start disagreeing with Chris, where I haven't seen a ton of people being complete phonies, but there's something to be said for it.
And, and it's one of those things where I'm totally understanding of certain comics. And this is, again, just the internet. Anything that I say, if I had a positive experience, is just justifying the money.
Right.
So I'm aware of that. The thing about me
that's actually kind of wild to hear one of them finally fucking.
Beautiful. Where has that been? He's like, hey, listen, I'm going to come up with excuses for it, but it's because of the money. And so even while he's saying, like, he might say, like, oh, it was way better than I have no regrets. It was way better than I expected. There were hot girls over there, whatever. And he's like, now I'll admit this is just justifying that bag,
Right?
And good for him for being honest about that. That's something we can all. If you're being honest with yourself, we can all relate to that,
Right?
because people in our comments have been saying, like, oh, like if you got offered 7 figures, you wouldn't go. It's not what we're talking about. It's not even close to what we're talking about. But like, yes, of course, that's a discussion you'd have to have if it's life-changing money, which it sounds like for Chris it was. The other issue is for Bill Burr and some of these other guys, I don't believe it was life-changing money. For Chris, it sounds like it may have been.
Because I make my life smaller. Of course, I care about my own fans. And by the way, the internet was hating. I did 3 shows in Boston. So it was like collectively like 3,000 people. And I opened up every show talking 10 minutes about Saudi Arabia, and everyone laughed and clapped at the bits.
Yeah.
And I waited purposely. I would say I went to Saudi Arabia and then waited. No booze, no nothing. They're just waiting for the bit because people don't actually care.
Well, I don't know if anyone's been to a comedy show where the first words, and that's it, and the show's over. So they're probably just waiting to see what you say next.
That's a good point. And but here's the thing that Chris, I think, is not relating to necessarily, because the crowd at Conan's show where Bill Burr was a little more awkward, because Chris's audience is not there expecting him to denounce the rich. You know what I mean?
Right.
Chris doesn't have an act that berates corporate greed and cancel culture and the woke mobs and all that shit. So then they're not expecting that from Chris, as the other party's kind of leaving out.
The thing that I think is the truth about that specifically is I don't think anybody actually cares at all. Even the people who were the loudest.
Right.
Because to me, anyone who was.
So this is where I disagree with him. Because like I said, maybe I'm ignorant to what's happening over there, but I do think if you are a comedian that has railed against cancel culture and talked about freedom of speech and you can't say anything anymore, dude, then you should look at the Jamal Khashoggi incident and say that is not something I should support.
I think what he's saying is that people going to Saudi, no one really cares about. It's the specific person and their beliefs are
correct.
That's more what it. I think that's what he's trying to say.
And if that's true, I agree with him. I do think some of the comedians have hid behind this and gone, oh, it's all fake outrage. Maybe I think it because I'm part of it. Maybe I'm delusional and putting blinders on. No pun intended. But like, I'm not picking up on that this time. This does not seem like fake outrage, cancel culture bullshit. This seems like fan bases saying, hey, what the fuck? You lied to us.
That's what I think he's going for.
And like this idea that Shane Gillis and Stavros Halkias being like, I'm not going to go over there. This idea that they're being fake by saying that, I don't really agree with.
Right.
They've not asked for pats on the back for this. They've not paraded around. Shane, even like when he did it, he's like, oh, I kind of regret not going after seeing how much they. So like they're not looking for congratulations on this. Maron, you know what? I was about to say something dumb. I was going to say Maron, I could kind of see that with. Not true. Maron did a bit about it that was kind of funny. He said, from the people that brought you 9/11. Like, that's fun. That's a funny joke.
That is funny.
Maron did a bit about it. I don't believe that Mark Maron was looking for pats on the back, and that's rare. You know? So I don't agree with this, like, oh, everyone's being fake by voicing an issue with it. Now, can you have rebuttals to it? Of course. Can you say, oh, our government does bad things, blah, blah, blah. but you accepted money from a government after a time where we all shit on Tony Hinchcliffe. Everyone called him lame for just performing at a Trump rally. Everyone said, oh, God, comedy's being ruined. And then you all flew over and performed for a government while they were sitting front row.
Right.
So fuck you guys for calling it fake, because you're the ones who pretended to care about this stuff.
And saying that they wouldn't go and then they've just made it about them and they've used it for their own career. So to me, that whole blood money thing is like, that gets complicated because it's like, well, if you made a joke in a YouTube, and your YouTube revenue went up because you talked about Charlie Kirk's death, is that blood money? What is it then?
100%.
So I don't understand. So for me though, to see that,
I get what he's trying to say, and it's what Schultz tried to say, where it's like, we can all have our morals, but at the end of the day, we all have iPhones. It's kind of that argument.
I like to think that he was just going at Trevor Noah there for his fucking lame ass joke the other day.
Maybe. But I get what he's trying to say. Like, morals are tricky because we all break them at times.
Well, that was the Apple argument.
Yeah. So that's what I think he's trying to say, and I get that argument. I just think sometimes things are so clear. You know what I mean? This isn't like a gray area where it's like, oh, I never really thought about that. Like you were business partners with the government. It was in your face to think about it. And you even admitted you had trepidation. Why would you have trepidation about doing it if no one really cares about it?
And that a lot of our comedy peers who are upset about it, you realize that either they were asked to go, either they weren't asked to go, or they were asked to go and it wasn't the right amount of money. And they have a lot of anger towards that. And they just comes out in other ways. Because I don't think anybody sitting here in America truly, really actually cares. They were told to care. It was a mob pile-on, and they were told to care. So people just follow. They all of a sudden cared because somewhere their algorithm told them to care, and now all of a sudden they're like little zombies caring.
I would never tell somebody where to go to make money or money.
No.
And I want to say for the record, I was not offered $100,000 to go do a show, but if I was, you can bet I would be on that first flight.
Jim is asking for less money than anyone got to go over there. That's like Dr. Evil asking for $1 million. It's like, Jim, you could don't set the bar so low. Jim would at least be a $375,000 guy, I would think.
You'd have to assume.
Yeah.
Hypocrisy.
Okay, let's hear about this.
Didn't go because they felt they didn't want to go. Good for them. Like, I have no issue with them either. Like someone who goes, no, I just don't want to do that. It's not for me. It's
good.
Cool. There's no problem with that.
To me, the real heroes are the people who didn't go, rejected the offer, and didn't say a word about it. They didn't post about it. They didn't like look at what a great person I am. That to me was a little corny. And also,
that'd be Stavros, right?
Like,
did he make a comment about it?
I don't know how we know he didn't go.
Well, no, they're saying like people can say they didn't go, but the people that are like, I didn't go,
posting about it, like I'm a hero. Yeah. I don't remember hearing Stavros say it anywhere. I've just heard reports that he turned it down.
He is like sneaky a mega lib, so he might.
Oh, huge. But Stavros is like a socialist, basically.
I know.
Yeah.
You want to
show? What's weird? Real quick, quick tangent. Justin told me this, and I haven't seen it yet. I should have looked it up, but. Or maybe the Warthog told me this. I can't remember. Nick Mullen did a commercial for that Zoran Mondani guy.
Was it a joke?
I'm told not. I haven't watched it yet, but
I will look for it.
It's bizarre, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna look for it while this clip's playing.
Yeah, okay.
You better be ready for the light to get shown back
100%.
on you, because we all have to live with a certain degree of hypocrisy in this world, all of us. That's why we never judge anyone.
That's what you just said is true. We all have to live with a little hypocrisy. We are all we are all a little full of shit. Like,
of course.
And it's not that we want to lie, but you can't live a life that is 100% consistent. Like we're all a little bit bullshit at times. Like, again, I don't like what the Saudi government has done or what they stand for. However, for $100,000, I would go over there and I would divorce my wife. Just so that they were happy to have me. And then I'd marry her. I'm like, sorry about that.
All right. Unrelated. I did find it.
Okay. Maybe we'll get to that after this. I just want to finish this segment first.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, there's absolutely something to be said for that. No one's 100% perfectly morally consistent. But I do think this is a more glaring thing. You know what I mean? It's not like
Yeah.
no one is. The WWE's been over there and it caused outrage. Live Golf has been discussed. It's not like no one knew. You know what I mean? It's not like you have an iPhone and when you buy an iPhone, they're not advertising slavery.
Right.
It's not in your face. It's after the fact where you're kind of like, fuck, that is true. You know, I do support that in these different ways. You were dealing with the government. So it's a different, I get what Chris is trying to say, and I am much more lenient on him.
Right.
Because people said this about Schultz last week. People were like, you went kind of easy on Schultz. He's being inconsistent in these ways. And I agree with you. I am much more lenient on these guys who are like, everybody. Hey, I get the outrage. What do you keep playing?
I was trying to download the video, but it played by accident twice.
Okay.
Sorry.
We'll get to that. Craig's very excited to call someone a socialist. That's fun.
No, I wasn't trying to say nothing.
All right, let's finish this.
We have rules are rules.
That's true. So we hear a little more of the rules that were laid down over there, I think.
And I live in America. I'm happy to live in America, but I understand, like, bro, the rules are the rules. Like, not every religion wants to even have gay people. And it's like, should all of them be killed? No, that's just not the fucking way they grew up. I don't give a shit if you're gay or not. You know me. I probably am.
You've had this conversation in the mirror.
Yes. It's my grinder bio. I don't know if I'm there or not. Just an emoji like that.
Shrugged shoulders.
But I've just included it because I thought Jim was funny in there. But and Tim Dillon said that too when he was still supposed to go, where he's like, it is a different culture that we don't understand. That doesn't necessarily mean we can't interact with them at all. But again, like if you pretend to have morals and you think that that's wrong and you think we even treat women here wrong, then you should have something to say about the way women and gay people are treated over there. Like that's just a natural response for an audience to be like, hey, what the fuck? And like I said, you can disagree with Distefano's opinion here, but at least he's talking about it instead of lecturing you on why that he's a great person and you're terrible.
And him going, I know the outrage. I still did it for the money.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, and that's at the end of the day, you have to, no matter what excuses he makes, you have to remember he's admitted. He's like, I did it for the money, by the way. I'm grasping for reasons to have done this, but like it's for the money. My wife made me.
Exactly. Go to blindmike.net for everything Blind Mike. Look at me. I did it. Kragers did it.